Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the West Ham Network for what is your semi-final first leg Europa League preview, matchday build-up show, whatever you want to call it. I am like a kid in a candy store and I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely, honestly, I've just been having a chat with the guys beforehand and I'm through the roof. Like I really am. I'm more excited about this one than I was about coming down to the Lyon home leg. And I'm just absolutely buzzing. Anyway, I'm Anton. Mr. Stato, Matt, you're back, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yes, mate. Well, you've already know how I am, so I want to know, how are you feeling, mate?
I am edgy, nervous, excited. Everything rolled into one.
Yeah,
Sure, a lot of fans all feeling the same. It's, I want to say uncharted territory, but it's technically not. But for new younger fans like myself, like you, it really is uncharted territory.
Yeah, you can say that again. You can say that again. Well, listen, if you haven't already, before we bring on our first guest, I guess you're going to see a lot more of moving forward. Just to remind you, earlier today on the West Ham Daily, on the live show, we had David Cross. If you haven't watched it, go and check it out. Psycho himself, the only West Ham player to score a hat-trick in a European competition for West Ham. And he's an absolute legend. He's been on, I think it's his fourth or fifth time, isn't he, Matt? And he just answers all your questions. He sent me such a lovely message after it saying, like, he appreciates the West Ham fans so much for what they gave to him. So if you have not, go and check it out. We did that earlier on. There is the Hammers Headlines, which is in association with KUMB. But let's bring on Holly. Holly, welcome back and hope you are well. And how are you feeling?
Thank you so much. I'm excited, really, really excited. The more I think about it, the more I'm just getting sort of jittery heart feelings. I can't wait. I'm nervous. But like you were saying, I think every game that goes by, I'm finding it even more and more exciting. It feels like there's more riding on it, more to look forward to. And I'm hopeful, very hopeful.
I think the thing for me is, I said going into the away leg, and I'll put this one to you, Holly, that, if we didn't get through, I am thankful for what rides we've been on in the Europe. And I'm very thankful. So people who watch the channel will see I'm a half glass full West Ham fan more than I'm a half glass empty. I think that frustrates a couple of people, but I'm just extremely positive quite a lot and I can't help it. And I don't know if that's the youthfulness coming out in me, but, for me, being in the semi-finals of the Europa League, I just can't get my head around it. And I want us to get through. I want us to go on and win it. I'll be so disappointed if we don't. But I'll look back at this season and think, what a wonderful season we've been given. How do you feel the same, Holly?
Exactly the same. I think I probably fall into the same category as the annoyingly optimistic football fans. But I just feel like it's been incredible. If someone had told me we'd be in this position at the start of the season, I'd have been baffled. I never would have seen it coming. And I think for the same reason, as long as I feel like we're coming out and giving 100% in these games, I don't want us to go out and sort of put in half an effort or not really put in a shift and then go out, because I think that would be a massive anticlimax. But if we're giving 100%, which is what we have been doing, I won't be disappointed regardless of what happens on the pitch, because I think we've done incredibly to get this far with very little. There are teams in far better positions than we've been. We've beaten great teams, and yeah, we should be proud of ourselves for getting to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, as we do, we always do discuss the opposition on the Matchday build-up show. So it's time to talk the opposition. It's time to talk Eintracht Frankfurt. So that, Matt, I'll bring you into this one, first and foremost. Frankfurt currently 12 points adrift of the top 5 of the Bundesliga with 7 matches remaining. However, in the 10 matches in Europa League, they are unbeaten. So I'll put this one over to you, Matt. How are you feeling about the Frankfurt situation? Last time out, obviously took down the Giants of Barcelona.
It's weird because they're in similar territory to Lyon. They're not in great form. They're sitting mid-table in the Bundesliga. I mean, to be fair, I didn't think there could be many teams that are probably in worse domestic form than us in Europe right now, but they're right up there. Haven't won their last 5 games, 3 draws, 2 losses. Only scored 3 goals in the last 5 games, conceded 6. Maybe done a bit of us, put all the eggs in one basket. It's weird. Obviously, they're not like Lyon. You know, I come here before, didn't I? I said like Lyon would be a bit like Leeds, just all out, going, attacking, throw everything to the wind.
Yeah.
Whereas Frankfurt do sometimes normally play like a sort of 3-4-3, 5-3-2 sort of thing, but they're quite a counter-attacking team. They're actually this could be. I don't want to say it, but this could be one of them very edgy, nervy games where there's not a lot of chances.
Yeah.
I think Stuart Pearce said himself today that they're actually a really similar style of team to us in the way they play and the way they like to play on the counter and get players in. So formations may be different, but it's going to be an edgy. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as high scoring or as a Lyon game. I think it's going to be, you could see a really like.
But to be fair, the second leg of Lyon, I don't think anyone expected that kind of level of performance, to be honest, because that was crazy, really, wasn't it, Holly? I mean, I don't know how you felt. I mean, I was optimistic. I was nervous going into the game, and watching the game, we were all probably feeling the same. You know, I had no what do you call it? Nail. I was biting my nails all the time. You know, my fingertips. I was eating my everything was, you know, head in the hands all the time. And then bang, we just took that performance and took it to the next level. But I think the biggest thing I'm taking from all these games is we're respecting the opponents. And as long as we always respect our opponents, then we don't start off on the wrong foot. What do you think of that, Holly?
Completely agree. I think after that first leg against Lyon, I was slightly worried about what the other leg could bring and never thought that we'd come out and play how we have been. But you're completely right. We've not underestimated any of our opponents. There've been games that are sort of should win games. There've been all kinds of fixtures, and we've shown up to everyone with the right attitude. And I think that says a lot about the team and the morale at the moment and the great work that Moyes is doing behind the scenes to get everyone working so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, then going back onto Frankfurt, what do we know about their players and what are we expecting from them?
Obviously, the big news is that 2 of their more solid defensive players are missing. And Dicker, I don't know if that pronounced his name right, no idea.
Yep.
Got that very late second yellow, very, very. I'm sure was it in extra time?
Yeah, literally, I think it was like during the penalty or after the. Was it not
129th minute or something stupid?
Yeah, something like that.
Got a second yellow, so he will be out. He is their mainstay at the back. Bit of a Craig Dawson. He's actually pretty decent in the air as well. Contributes some goals, so he'll be a big miss. And apparently, Jakic, who's the holding midfielder.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's out as well. Apparently, he's banned.
Yeah, he is. He has got a suspension as well.
Which I knew nothing about, but UEFA on the website said, no, he's out of the game. But it's really at the other end of the pitch where you're going to look for the problems are going to be. They've got Bohr. I think I'm sure it's some sort of Spanish name. Centre forward. 9 goals, 5 assists this season in the Bundesliga. He's only 5'9". He's not exactly a target man. He's a guy that likes running in behind, which is the one thing we don't like defending against. In
fact,
he's Colombian centre forward.
Yeah.
We've never that's really until we sort of got Zuma in. It was really Achilles' heel with there was no pace in the back line. He likes dropping in. Kostic, the only remaining one of the front 3 from that very, very good Frankfurt team from a few years ago.
Which included our very own, formerly known Sebastian Haller, who is today officially linked to Manchester United. I think we all knew that as soon as Ten Hag would head to there from Ajax, we'd probably see that. Yeah, carry on then, Matt.
I believe the other guy is a guy called Kamada, who's just the guy he's a winger, likes cutting inside.
Yeah. But they do have,
Japanese international.
Yeah,
and then they got a guy,
international.
Jibril Sow, who is normally an attacking guy, likes to play behind the line, behind the centre forward.
Yeah.
But he's also able to play as a deep line playmaker. So there's possibilities that he could come in for Jakic. So they may not miss too much.
If you're Frankfurt, Holly, right, their manager, you know, what are you saying to that team coming to the London Stadium, coming off the back of such a good result against Barcelona? I think we'll talk about David Moyes' press conference in a second. He said when you look at the first legs of the quarterfinals, every game bar one was sitting at 1-1. I think it was the Rangers and Braga game were sitting with 1-0 up for Rangers, but nobody expected the second legs to go so crazy and vibrant to the level that they did. But if you're the manager coming to the London Stadium, you know, away for your first game, West Ham at home for their first game, what are you saying to your team about what West Ham are doing in Europe this year?
I reckon you'd be telling your team to be careful, because we do have a lot of danger that we can sort of bring wherever we're playing. It hasn't been easy for any team. Like you were saying, there were so many draws in that first leg. It is very close. And if you can turn up on the day and be better than that other team, then there's everything to play for. So I think in terms of mindset, people will probably be wanting to not underestimate us in the same way that we need to make sure we don't underestimate our opponents.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is a great comment from Fresh Fielder. Good to see you, Sean. Frankfurt were also unbeaten heading into the 76 semi. I've done a bit of a show on the semi-final back in 1976 as well, so that was on the daily earlier on. Daniela Stewart's in the house. Hope you are well, Daniela. If you are kicking about the supporters club tomorrow, I will see you. So if you are going along, then let me know and we'll catch up. Kimbo, hope you're well as well. I mean, I think, listen, guys, we've done enough probably chatting about the opposition, and it's probably the time of the show where we want to really get onto our beloved West Ham. So let's go and talk about the Claret and Blue of West Ham. Now, what we do, and as you all know, we go through the David Moyes press conference. Now, I'm going to go through some of the Moyes press conference because it was actually a really long one today. So I did a Hammers headline show revolving around the press conference earlier on. It was him and Mark Noble that took part in the press conference today. So first up, he was talking about team news. So I'll kind of go through this and we'll dissect it a little bit. He said, we've got most people available from the weekend available again. And we've got some people making good recoveries, but we don't know if they'll be ready yet. Ogbonna's back, but he only came back this week. When I say back, I mean back in the building. So I'd be amazed if he played before the end of the season. Zuma's back doing some light work. He's ahead of schedule, which is really good. And Issa Diop is actually doing quite well as well. He just feels a little better than we first hoped. So the bit of positivity around those players. And because of that, it's given us a bit of positivity. It won't be quite as long as we thought it would be. I never rush players back. It's always better to make sure they're right. So we would only put players out if we thought they had trained and we thought they were fit and ready to play. So, Holly, taking that into consideration, earlier in the week we heard that Zuma was back on the training park. People were starting to kind of, you know, putting two and two together and coming up with their own results. Maybe thinking he would start. He might start. We don't know. Nobody really knows. But is that too wishful thinking as West Ham fans?
I'd love to see it. I mean, I wonder, 'cause I know Dave Moyes has a bit of a tendency lately to kind of surprise us every now and again and just bring someone back, keeping it under wraps until it actually happens. Obviously, that would be quite soon for him to come back. And the bit that Moyes said there about not bringing people back till they're 100%, I wonder if he'd be happy with the amount of training that they've got in, for example, before coming to such an important game. But I'd be really happy just to see one of them on the bench. Most importantly, I think as well, it spells that we're not going to be struggling for squad depth as much as we'd feared in the coming weeks. Hopefully we can start getting a player or two back and it will just ease everyone's concerns a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, what do you think as well? I mean, it's good news. It's positive news because we've obviously saw these players bounce back again You know, we're hearing about Zuma picking up an injury earlier in the season, and he bounced back reasonably quick. He said the op that hopefully doesn't look as bad. So we could find ourselves in a situation where two of the three injured players could find themselves back in, you know, within a couple of weeks. I think there is a little bit of smoke and mirrors here. I don't think they'll start. However, I think one would be available for the second leg.
I think one of them is going to start, and that's not because the interview he done today. He done an interview the other day for the BBC, and for no apparent reason, apparently the one interviewer said to him, "Oh, so apparently you've got one or two more defenders back than you expected this week." And apparently David Moyes tried to like just no pan dead face. I don't know what you're talking about. And at the end of it, he then gave off like a cheeky wry smile.
Suspicious.
And they were like, "Yeah, like he's trying to play the smoke and mirrors."
So Holly, before, I mean, myself and Matt have done these previews for so many years together, and we were picking the press conference and little hints and things we would pick up. We would actually then start to predict the team based upon what he was saying. But suddenly, like you've said, Holly, this season he is throwing us all. Nobody expected Bowen to start when he was coming back from his injury. What happens? Bowen starts. Like, we can't ever really predict the team. But a player I do want to discuss, and you can see him in the top right-hand side of the screen there, and that's AJ Alessi. So he was training with the first team. I don't know if you've seen social media, but his friends have been tweeting all week, all over Instagram, saying he's in getting his haircut for Thursday. He's not featured in the under-23s. I mean, is it dangerous, Holly, to throw an under-23 one in this game with such a lot riding on it?
I would argue that if he's good enough at what he does, you're safer to put him in at centre-back than you would be to play someone out of position at centre-back. That's how I think I feel about it. Might eat my words up if I'm proven wrong, but he's clearly good. He's clearly could do the job. And we've had times where players like Diop have looked shaky at centre-back and we've still played them. So I'd really be interested to see what he could do if he was given the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I totally really agree with that sentiment.
How old is he now?
He's 20.
How old
he's 21.
He's young.
So, I mean, I'm not being funny, but 1, 2, 3, 4 players in Frankfurt's first team are 21 or younger, including 2 of their defenders.
I think
they will do their starting 3 centre backs are 21.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's the one.
You said if he's good enough, he's if he's got the ability, he's good enough to start.
If we go back to the start of the season and looking at pre-season in particular, and then go, like, I was very fortunate enough. Have I ever told you I went to see West Ham training at St Andrews? Because I'll just ram it down your throat again and tell you that I was there when they were training. Sarcasm. But when I was watching them play, I've been following Alessi and Baptiste for a couple of seasons, seen them in pre-season 2 seasons ago when we played Wickham and Ipswich at the same time, and we were covering both games, and I particularly took the game that Alessi was playing, and he was phenomenal. He played alongside Balbuena, and he was he acted like he was the experienced defender. Calm on the ball, can read the game really well, can pick a pass from distance, can tackle really well, and he's had 2 senior appearances so far. And I've been thinking about, like what you were saying, Holly, like if you're good enough to do it, then why not? And we shouldn't always detriment a young player because they haven't been playing week in and week out. I feel like sometimes these players do need to make that little bit of a step up, and they can. But again, this could all be smoke and mirrors, and tomorrow we'll see Dawson and Zuma starting the game. Do you know what I mean? It's all over the shop. But I think if Alessi's ready to rock and roll, he's a player that I definitely would like to see. And I like that sentiment. I would rather see him play in his natural position as a centre-half than seeing someone come out of position to try and support that role.
And he'd have a lot to prove as well. So I think having that work ethic and determination to show what you can do when you do get a chance, if he can come out and do that, then I see no reason we shouldn't start him.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me jump into the next. I mean, I'm just going to fire through these ones. He says, I think that we have a lot of games under my belt, but this one is right up there with so many others. This is a moment, and it's more important one. It's the next one. He's talking about the game importance for tomorrow. We all know about the game importance. He says, I want a good performance and a good result, first of all. I was talking earlier about the quarterfinal games where our game was 1-1 against Lyon after the first leg, and Frankfurt 1-1 each against Barcelona. The only game which was open was Rangers against Braga, and it seemed to be the second legs that opened it up. I'm not going to jump on that one. He's talking about his achievements. The stadium, he said, the belief in the squad. I think if we go back winning in Zagreb, that was probably the toughest away game in the group we have. And we went in there and played really well. That gave us a lot of confidence. At the time, we made the choice to split the team a little bit. And I think that was working well, helped the morale and made sure everybody knew that they would play their part in it. Declan was just back from a European final. The Czech boys had just come back from the Euros as well. Suddenly we had started to have an international group of players, and we had some players with that level of experience. But you can see the belief in the squad, can't you, Matt? I mean, it's shining quite clearly from them.
It's not just a belief, is it? I think it's just a morale in general.
Yeah,
like they actually look happy to go to training every day. You quite clearly see like bonds you wouldn't expect, like, you know, Antonio trying to learn Spanish so he can gel better with Fornals, who he's picked up a good friendship with. It's not something we're used to seeing, you know. You think back to relegation battles and we just seen the guys just arguing, shouting at each other. No one ever looks happy, even going on training pitches. It just never looked. And something more is Stuart Pearce, Kevin Nolan, etc. obviously worked on is just actually gelling them off the pitch as well as on it. Because if you don't get on, it's never gonna. I'm not being funny, but look at someone like Man United.
Yeah,
how fractured their gesture room is, the ability they have on the pitch, but where they are and what they produce. Work ethic. People always say work ethic and hard work will push you through when you don't have the ability. Obviously, if you have the ability, it pulls you up even further. And it seems that they've really worked on stuff behind the scenes to elevate us even further than we'd all expected.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Mark Noble was there. There's so many comments he made. I'll pick up a couple that he said. He said, in different aspects and different moments I've had, this is probably one of the most important, because at different stages, getting promoted or staying in the Premier League is so important. But for pure enjoyment and atmosphere, Sevilla at home would be hard to beat, but tomorrow night will be pretty special. I don't think I've ever looked forward to a game in my career so much, and to be able to celebrate that as an occasion with my own fans is pretty special. I love this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones. He said he was asked about his memories and what would happen when he come back if we, come out of retirement. He said, I've been asked so many times now if I'd changed my mind on retiring, but the reason we'd get into the Champions League is by winning the Europa League. Winning the Europa League and lifting the trophy. Would I come back? No. That's my honest answer. To end on that would be pretty special. If that did happen, I'd happily come and watch the Champions League games with the Europa League trophy on the next chair. And that's the way down the line. It's about concentrating on tomorrow night. Things you love to see. And you can see, even though he's not the first 11 captain, he's the squad captain. You can just see what he brings to West Ham. Being around the camaraderie that the team have got in the changing rooms, Holly, he's such a big player to be around that squad, isn't he?
Absolutely incredible. I don't think you could really wish for a better leader. He just puts in 100%. He's not one that's going to get hurt that he's not being started. It seems like he always wants what's best for the team. Obviously, he's shown Declan how to be a good captain, and Rice is now going off and doing the same. It's just incredible, because I really feel like he's turned it into a family. And when you hear the players talk about their stories with Nobes, you just see how incredible he's made the dressing room and what a big part he plays, not just in sort of results when he's been playing more, but also just in the whole environment, atmosphere, and everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just showing everyone some images today from training, the open training session. Jared Bowen, Declan Rice, Antonio Lanzini, Souček. They're all there getting themselves nice and fit. The only player that we didn't really see today, who we maybe would have thought we would have seen, would have been Zuma. So he definitely didn't train with the squad today. Yarmolenko, Sofao, Alex Kroll. And there's the lads heading off into the change rooms to get themselves nice and changed. Now, if you are in the chat, I'm going to ask you to start putting your starting 11 predictions in, as myself, Matt and Holly try to predict the starting 11 for tomorrow evening. So it is that interesting time, and I don't know, I'm all over the shop sometimes when we try and choose these teams. Holly, excuse the graphics. We're trying our best to get a little bit better with them. So It's a share screen job, but I think we do an all right job, Matt, to be honest.
Love it.
So when it comes to formation, we've seen a few switches in formations as of late, especially against Chelsea, and players were rested. And I think that was probably a good position. Players stepped up, and I thought they actually had a good performance against Chelsea. So when it comes to formation, I'll bring this one to you, Holly. What do you think Moyes is going to do for the home leg?
I have a feeling we might go for it at the back. I think just given the players that we probably have available, and yeah, I just have a feeling it's going to be four at the back, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I do agree with you. To be honest, I think that it's not that we've not tried and tested the five. I think the three at the back is okay if we've got a full strength defense.
Yeah,
And if we don't, then we really need to be mindful of that. And I think the four, if that means it's going to be, Alessi or Zuma if he miraculously makes a recovery. Don't know, Matt. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'd be the four. I mean, cool. we did well with the back five against Chelsea, but then Chelsea didn't turn up for 80 minutes.
Yeah,
Chelsea looked like really on the beach. I don't think, especially the home tie. If we was away first, I might be tempted to say the five, but
right. Well, let's get straight into it then. So we're going with the back four. We know the one player that's guaranteed to play. He's been unreal, isn't he? With David Cross, Cycle was on today and couldn't give the man enough credit, to be honest. £2 million on loan, and I think it was an extra £1 million to sign him. I mean, you're talking about £3 million to bring this guy in from Watford. Nobody ever saw what he was going to achieve, and now we're calling the bloody guy Ballon Dawson. And rightly so. I mean, he takes it on the nose every single game, and he doesn't care. He just gets on with it, and he's such a threat from set pieces as well. What do you think of Dawson, Holly?
He's been absolutely unbelievable for us. Like you're saying, we never ever could have seen it coming that he'd be the absolute unit that he's been for us. Defensively, I completely trust him as well. I never feel nervous with him on the ball, and we've seen what he can do up top as well. And like you said, he takes it directly on the nose, but he's doing incredibly for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So this gets into the nitty gritty. Are we gonna? I mean, I don't think Zuma. Matt, you seem to think that Zuma will come back in for the game tomorrow. I don't think he will. I think it is going to be a bit too early. But does that change if he doesn't play? Does that change your formation then for the game?
No, I do think because it's the home game, we will be expect. Like I said, they are like us, a counter-attacking team. So as the home team, they will expect to sit back and just let us attack. I don't think with the players we've got it's going to work. But the five at the back, with the players we've got available, so I think he will stick to a four.
Cool. Okay, so who is going to partner Dawson then?
I think Moyes may gamble. I think Moyes may go for it.
Ooh.
What? I think he may chuck Alessi in.
Alessi in. Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't want to get carried away with it, but for me, I would love to see it. As long as, if Zuma is fit, it's different. But if he's not, I really don't see why. I don't see why he shouldn't play. What a spectacle! What a game! And do you know what? I have such faith and confidence in this young lad that he's actually played 2 senior games for West Ham, and he's actually performed really well in the 2 senior games that he has played. If he was to come in now and get a shot and get a run of games and do well, you're talking about saving millions moving forward into the summer. If this young lad can make the step up, and it's time, we need another young lad to make the step up, and it would be great. I don't know if we're in dreamland. We could be sitting here going, yes, another young player, but I do start to feel like you guys. I feel like if there is a game, it's this game because of the injuries we've got, and I don't think he wants to switch these players out of formation as well. Yeah. So yeah, let's go with that. Holly, left back, it's a no-brainer really, isn't it?
Yep, going in with Cresswell.
Yep. Absolutely. It's good to see him. I mean, I think what's good about Cressy is he's got such good experience. And if it was Diop, say, playing in that position, you always felt stronger knowing that Cresswell was beside him. But if it wasn't Cresswell beside him and it was, say, Masuaku or it was Ben Johnson, the experience wasn't there, so that didn't help Diop. but I think Creswell brings that experience, which is much needed in that position. Matt, you going to say something?
I was going to say that's also why I think Alessi will start.
Yeah.
If you think maybe the triangle around him is probably going to be the way we play, Creswell and Dawson either side of him, it'll probably be Deck sitting in front of him. So I don't want to say you're protecting him, but I'd like to think between those three players around him, they'd have enough experience and game management to, if he needs pointers and tell him where to go or what to do, drop that he's going to have the experience around him to do it. So it shouldn't be, if you're only changing one guy in the back line with the experience around him, it shouldn't be a problem.
It shouldn't. Yeah. It's a good point. Good point. Right back. Ben Johnson having a season of his life. Sufal's coming back in. Europa League. He's got a lot of Europa League experience. Holly, what do you do if you're David Moyes?
I'm a really big fan of Johnson, so I think I would play Johnson. The only criticism I have of him is I don't think he uses the channels enough sometimes. Sometimes I just wish he was that 10 metres further up so that we could get the ball to him. And I think that Sufal does that part better than him. But for me, I would be starting Johnson.
What do you think, Matt?
I've been saying for a few weeks, I still think it's his spot to lose. I don't think he's done anything wrong, Johnson. We always say sometimes with some of the positions that, with the centre backs at the start of the season, who's in form, who's playing well, you've got to make mistakes or get injured to be dropped. And, the fact that he's filled in at left back recently as well and still done just as well on the left hand side as the right hand side, I think it's his position at the moment.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you. Let's go into the middle of the park, and there's no point in us even sitting here and trying to discuss it. And there's no point in us even bringing it up and even genuinely having a discussion, because we know it's going to be the two lads in there that do all the protecting. I mean, I know earlier when we were having the injury concerns, and especially against Chelsea when Dawson got sent off, we've seen Declan Rice go back into defence. And I don't deny that Declan Rice can play in defence, but he's given us everything he's giving in the middle of the park. We do everything to keep him in the middle of the park is the thing I would want to do. Antonio was rested, so the reason why I'm jumping further ahead is I feel like that's there's changes to be made. If there's going to be any, is going to be in the midfield. So let's push right up to top. Is Antonio starting the game against Frankfurt?
For me, definitely. I think because we've rested him, Antonio always struggles. He's not the kind of player that is built, really, is he, to play 90 minutes week in, week out. He's more of an impact player or someone that when they can put in a sprint can make a real difference. And we've just been playing him every single game until he's shattered. So I think now he's had that rest, I hope that the reason we rested him was so that he could come back for this game, but not only play how he has been, but to start scoring again.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, anything you want to add to that?
Moyes is something he doesn't do at the weekend. Like, he laid his cards on the table. We clearly now know under Moyes what his four most important players are. Because there's four guys that got dropped against Chelsea. And Antonio and Declan Rice were two of them.
Yeah.
So, when we go on to the next bit, I think two guys really picked themselves because they were ones that got rested.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sorry, Matt. I know some of the comments. Listen, I get it. I get what you are saying. But how many times everyone who's in the chat, who's watching this game, who watches our show, and we predict the starting 11, and we think it's a no-brainer, and David Moyes changes it? How many times? Think about it.
We've done it on like guaranteed games. So, like, this is definitely. And then, like you said, like Bowen and Antonio both come back inside, and we were like, oh.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's cool. Right, so we'll go with Antonio up top. We know, again, the next position is a no-brainer, really. Jared Bowen sits in the right there. Phenomenal he's been this season. And he really is now, Holly, over to you with this one. I mean, he really is becoming that kind of player that what we were lacking last year from him, he's offering us now in the final third. In actual fact, it doesn't even really matter if he plays crap. He's not been playing crap. But he can get himself into such dangerous positions. And when he gets that ball, you actually fear for the goalkeeper and the players in front of him. And I think they all panic when they see him getting the ball because he looks like he's got that momentum and that enthusiasm to get the ball forward.
Yeah, he's the kind of player that you'd absolutely hate to defend against just because he's quick, he changes direction quickly and easily, and he does have a decent finish on him as well. And like you were saying there, it is something that we had been lacking in recent seasons. His form's been incredible. He works really hard. He's had injuries and he's come back and slotted straight back in. So I think obviously with most games, he'll be a real player to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, that leaves two positions. So I think I'm going to bring out the players that we think those two positions are going to go for. I think we're going to have a mixture of opinions in the chat. So we've got Benny, Fornals, Lanzini. We all understand that they all are fit. And the only other player that could have an outside chance, which I don't think he will be Vlasic. I'm just going to get rid of the rest of them now, to be honest, unless any of you disagree with me. So I think the last two positions come from three of these players. In the hole, Holly, who is going in the hole?
It's got to be Fornals for me.
You're going to put Fornals?
Oh, no, sorry. Fornals out of the side. What am I talking about?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, out the side. Yeah, okay.
So I would say Lanzini, because he's been very good since he's been playing again for us. He hasn't really put a foot wrong. I think Benrahma can be quite hit and miss. And when it doesn't work with Benrahma, he really doesn't seem to do too much that probably impacts the actual game. So I would start Lanzini, and that would probably be one of my first substitutions if it wasn't working.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Matt, with that?
I think we've got 10 out of 11 players definitely right. And then that centre-back's wide
I
open.
agree. I agree. And if that centre-back position doesn't work, then and it's a change, then the change would be that bringing maybe Soufal in and Fornals would drop into the left wing back position. And basically, like you said, it's one player we're talking about that could change this whole dynamic. But if it goes with the four at the back, that's the one I think we'll see, to be honest.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Matt?
I was going to agree with Holly. I think Lanzini, Moyes, when he came back, didn't he? Like when he first come back, when we brought him back in after sacking Pellegrini, Fornals was in a bit of form, and he tried to bring Lanzini back in there. He dropped Fornals, and he tried to persevere with Lanzini for about 4, 5, 6 weeks. And then he had to give up, and then Fornals come off the bench and scored against Liverpool. And Fornals just tumbled on and just, got better and better from there. But was it back in November time? October, November, around the Christmas somewhere? Lanzini came back in.
Yeah.
And tweaked his position a bit. They put him more as a, we've put him as a number 10, but it's a weird dynamic, isn't it? Because quite often he'll start there, but then if things aren't going well up top, we've seen that sometimes he'll drop deeper and they'll let Souček push on and almost go and play as like second centre forward at times to make those runs in the box, get the headers on. It's something he's developed his game really well. It's taken him maybe a couple of years longer than he would have wanted to adapt it, maybe having lost that quick bit of pace from when he had the bad injury playing for Argentina. But he has now adapted his game, and he does now seem to, I don't know if he enjoys it, but he seems to be progressing and flourishing a lot better playing, and there's more deeper playing, picking out the pass of his game. And as I said, Moyes has always loved him, and it's maybe Moyes now feels vindicated that he has found his form again.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I think yep, absolutely. Do totally agree with that. I'm just downloading the two potential teams that we might be able to see. But if you are watching now, this is your time to get your predictions in for the game tomorrow. So put them in the chat and we will go through them. Give me your predictions if I can find the video, which I can. So that is me asking you for your predictions. Put it in the chat just now and we'll go through it. Europa League semi-final, first leg at home. Matt Flack, Mr. Stato. What is your predictions, mate?
I'm trying to think properly. We will definitely score because our home form has been impeccable. I think we've only not scored twice at home this season. One of them was the League Cup game against Man City, which won on penalties. And the other was the Europa League game when it was the last game and Moyes put all the kids out. Apart from that, we've scored at home every game. So we will definitely score. They are a counter-attacking team. They don't score many goals, proven by their league form. They've only scored 3 goals in 5 games. I'm going to go with 1-0.
1-0. So you think it's, I mean,
obviously,
Yeah, a tight game. You know, going into we're taking advantage to the away game, and it's going to be a hard fought second leg. Holly.
I'm going to go for the same prediction, so 1-0, for the exact reason that I hope we can keep a clean sheet. I think that's going to be really important for us to not sort of make it more difficult for ourselves in the second leg. It was horrible in the game against Lyon where it was 1-1 and we knew that we had to perform a bit of a miracle away. Obviously, we turned up and did that, but I'm not expecting there to be too many clear-cut chances, but I think it is going to rely on how clinical we can be when we do get those chances in front of goal. So touch wood, fingers crossed, we can actually put the ball in the back of the net and 1-0.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm going to be a bit different. I'm maybe I'm not too confident. I'm feeling excited. I'm worried. There is nerves there. They are a tough team, of course, and they've knocked out the giants of Europe, like in Barcelona, and they're unbeaten in the competition. But we are coming up against a, stubborn West Ham side that seem to love this competition and kind of know what to do when the going gets tough. I do think we'll score. I do also think we will concede. But I'm going to go for one of those nights under the lights at the London Stadium, and I'm going to go for a 3-1 West Ham victory. Could you imagine we walk away from that with a 3-1 West Ham victory? Holy shit.
I'll take it. I'm just more cautious, yeah.
Ballon Dawson's in the house here. Dawson, I should say. Unless he needs to go out and launch the championship on 23 is not good for his development. There's so many comments coming in, so I'll go through the predictions. Chris Green says 3-1 West Ham. Fresh Fielder says 3-1 West Ham. Black Country Hammer, I can't see Moyes playing a Lessie game, too important. Yes, on the bench. Yankee saying Ballon Dawson hat-trick. Ben Whittaker 2-1. 4-0, Ballon Dawson 3-1, Howard Ailes 3-0, Dawson first half, Antonio Brace second half. Big game for Antonio again tomorrow as well. Would be nice to, what was really interesting having Psycho on, David Cross on earlier on, was obviously being a striker, playing in Europe, was what do you do when you're not scoring goals? But as a fellow striker, he was saying to me, Anton, listen, the work he does off the ball is so important to the team. And that's part of the reason why the team is progressing is because of Antonio's hard work. And yes, sometimes he gets the ball and sometimes it goes into Rosed and stuff like that. But trust me, he is doing the work that you want from a player who, he said he would love to have played with a player like Antonio because he'd done all the legwork and would set him up left, right, and centre, which is what makes the prospect of the new season interesting if we were to bring in some players that could complement the likes of Antonio. So we'll see. And they was saying 3-1 history. Daniela Stewart says hoping for 3-0. Kimbo 3-1 to rip roaring goal scoring hammers. Adam Cook is saying not the game to start Ben Rama, but 0-0 second half, 70 minutes, bring him on. P-Gads West Ham 3-1 Antonio hat-trick. I mean, imagine this was the start of us picking up form. Just imagine this was the start of us picking up form. The form that we had at the beginning of the season that we've not really found since that run. And what a time to find it right at the tail end of the season when the results matter. I'm getting a bit carried away here. I do know that. Black Country Hammer, 3-0 Hammers, hit them on the break, no problem. Matt's not gone for a Desmond, for fuck's sake. I know, Sean, he does it every week. He plays safe every week. Marcus, 2-0. Epic Cash Time, Ben Rama has more goals per minute played and assists per minute played than Antonio, and you want to get rid of him. I never said I want to get rid of him. Don't think anyone said I want to get rid of him. 2-0 for Ben Whittaker. Adam Cook says 2-0 Hart, Head 2-1. Ballon Dawson, Antonio Beast Mode. Ballon Dawson, what do we do on Sunday? Play the reserves, depends on result. And Neil, Ben Rama has improved in his output from last season when we only got one goal and a few assists. Toby Sampson, I miss loads, 4-2 Irons. James Bong 3-1 West Ham, a man of the match. Manuel Brooking brace +1 from Jared Robson, who's on fire. Oh, love it. The three of you have never kicked a ball. No, we actually have, but we're trying to outguess and try and work out the smoke and mirrors. We're sneaking through the smoke and we're trying to find a way around the maze that Moyes has put to us, and we'll probably get it wrong, but we might get it right. Who knows?
I mean, look, the only other, if you want to get that, the only other thing I could see him doing, which I don't want him to do, is move Creswell into centre back.
Is this?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just another option. Oh, hold on a second. Look who is back. Full Sheezy. Where have you been,
Right,
my
yeah.
man? He is a regular, Holly. He's a regular. He's been for years and
Love
just
that.
disappeared off the face of the planet for months and months and months. And I'm glad to see you back, mate. I hope you're keeping well and safe. I hope the family are all well. If you are kicking around tomorrow, please let me know. Message me and we'll get a catch up. I'd love to see you, mate. I really would. As the same as to everyone as well. And everyone's in the chat going, "Full Sheezy." You can see it. Look, everyone's buzzing. They're more buzzing about that for Sheezy than they are about the game, mate. Look, is that? I mean, I hope it is him. I hope it's not someone else for sure. Anyway, Holly, give me your final thoughts.
I just think it's such an exciting time. Like you're saying, we've got a few different options as well in terms of the lineup. So it might not be what we've predicted, but it's a good thing that we do have different options and none of them seem absolutely horrendous or ridiculous. We've got chances to start players that don't normally get a look in. We've got chances to put people that would be tried and tested from different positions. There's just so much to look forward to, and I cannot wait. I hope we've got a really good atmosphere tomorrow night. Hope everyone's going absolutely mad. And if we can do that, get a few goals in that first leg, make it nice and easy for ourselves, I'll be a very happy hammer.
Absolutely. Black Country Hammer saying also it's down to you guys at the stadium, 12th man as
Absolutely.
well. Matt, final thoughts from you, mate? Anything?
Anything. I'm just buzzing for tomorrow. I think the atmosphere is probably. I know that Seville atmosphere is one thing, but I think we need to maybe push that even further for the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, the Germans, Frankfurt will probably do something similar when we go back to Germany in a week's time. I'm just hoping also there's no crowd trouble. I've heard rumours about the Germans going to try and just push their way in anyway because the chairman got upset that we refused to let them have extra tickets. Because they took 30,000 to the Nou Camp. He seems to think we should let them take like 20,000 tomorrow.
Let's hope everyone stays safe and let's just get that atmosphere rocking and rolling. Absolutely. Freshfielder, I'll be at the Supporters Club. I'll be there around about 4 o'clock. So if you are kicking about, I think I'm staying there till about 6 and then I'll head towards the stadium and around the stadium atmosphere, etc. So hopefully I'll get a catch up with you then. DJ is Russie B is in the house. Can it be? It is, mate. It is. How have you been, you absolute legend of a man, Fo? See, that's what happens, Fo, when you disappear and you come back. 3-1 Antonio Suchek, Bowen from Andrew. Get to the game early tomorrow. The video for the light show is top notch. Is that different, Russ? Is it different than what it was last time? Let us know, please. Like to hi Holly and click the like button. There you go. So Daniela's loving you, Holly, as well. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Habernails 9-1. Dawson to score and win. Matty. This is what we've missed. Foshiz is saying 1-0. 1-0 to the opposition. That's what he's saying. But that's what he did every week, Holly. That's what he does. That's his superstition, and we like that. So, listen, thank you so much for joining us. If you are new around here, please go and hit the subscribe button. There's also a bell notification. You hit that bell notification, that will notify you when our shows do go live. We've got a membership program. If you're keen to join that, you can hit the thumbs up. And hopefully we'll see all of us back really soon. And hopefully this time tomorrow night, we'll be, what will we be? It'll be near the end of the game. And we'll be hopefully buzzing and celebrating. And yeah, there you go. So stay safe, everyone, and get behind West Ham. And as we always do, we thank all the members for supporting the channel. Come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
It's like a family tree, part of you and part of me.
This is something I never do. We are live still, but I wanted to bring us back on because there's someone in the chat I just wanted to bring up. Sorry for throwing us all under the bus here. But it's Terry from Hammers Bakes. I'm trying to find his comment. So if you haven't checked him out already, head across to Twitter, click in Hammers Bakes, and go and read Terry's story. And if you're interested in getting some amazing West Ham cakes sent to you, go and check it out. So I'm sorry for coming back on, but I just seen this comment come in at the last minute. So go and check out Hammers Bakes on Twitter. Hope you're well, Terry. Thanks very much. And come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.